Hello and welcome to this episode of Heal Your Past, Master Your Future. My name is Tracy Malone and I am so grateful that you are here with me today. And today we are talking about boundaries without guilt. How to say no and still feel like a good person. Let's start with a truth that you may need to hear today. Saying no does not make you a bad person. If setting boundaries leaves you feeling guilty or selfish or worried about how others will see you, let me tell you, you're not alone. It's really normal, especially for those of us who are raised to prioritize others over ourselves. This can be a massive generational story. Those who survived by people pleasing, we're looking at the fawn response now, down in dorsal vagal. I needed to make sure you were okay in order to be safe myself. It's a big one. People pleasers, boundaries can feel like betrayals rather than acts of self-care for us. So in this episode, I wanted to help you rewrite that old story. And to do that, we need to become aware of what's really going on. So together we'll explore how to set boundaries without drowning in guilt, and how to reclaim your right to protect your place in the world and your peace without sacrificing yourself in the process. So, why does setting boundaries trigger guilt for us? Or why is setting boundaries not possible for us, even more so? Why do you find yourself saying yes when you actually mean no? And later you're like, I really didn't want to do that, but now I've said yes and I'm an honorable person, so I'll go and do the thing that I don't want to do. Early conditioning, relational trauma, people. Growing up, you may have been taught that goodness, that being a good girl, a good boy, a good person is self-sacrifice. You must sacrifice yourself, everyone else comes first. I have even seen this in coaching circles, even in some therapy circles. Do you want to feel better today? Go and be of service to somebody else. If I'm in dorsal vagal, the last thing that I want you to do if you're in dorsal vagal is to go and do something for somebody else. I would like you to meet yourself in dorsal vagal and honestly stuff everyone else. You can't force your way out of dorsal vagal. You can't force your way out of a fawn response. So for people pleasers and for the good people, you do not have to do anything for anyone else to feel better. Saying no, you might have been punished for saying no when you're a kid. Maybe you had a really immature parent and you said no to them, so they ignored you and went, I'll get you back for that. How dare you say no to me? So if your parent emotionally withdrawed from you when you said no, there is every possibility that you're going to be a people pleaser and a yes person. And people pleasing really becomes a way to avoid abandonment, conflict, or rejection. So it's a survival mechanism in order to survive, because our need to belong is stronger than our need to be authentic, bigger than our need to put ourselves first. It's bigger than our need to put our own needs first. We put the need to belong before everything else. So we people please to avoid those things. And we have an internalized shame that happens for that. So shame lives down in dorsal vagal as well. It's our inability to mobilize our fear. The best that we've got available to us is to appease everybody else. You learn to associate your worth with making others happy, even at your own expense. And that's why when people say, to make yourself feel better, just go and do something nice for somebody else. No, because who's then doing something nice for you? It'll make you feel better. Well, does it make you feel better, or does it reinforce the fact that your needs don't matter, everyone else's does? And so you feel more regulated in your nervous system around that because that's what you're used to because of your childhood trauma patterning. So guilt after setting a boundary is a symptom of healing. If you set a boundary and feel bad for it, yes, there's a step in the awesome direction towards healing. It's not proof that you're wrong. If you set a boundary and feel guilty, it's a good thing, not a bad thing. I don't love the words good and bad, but here we're staying really clear lines that if you feel guilt after setting a boundary, it means you're learning how to set them and you're on the right trajectory towards healing. Let's understand now what healthy boundaries actually are, because boundaries, for those of us who are unable to keep them, we don't really know what they are. And the most important thing to understand, boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They're bridges to authentic connection. Boundaries do not keep people from us. Boundaries show people where our sense of safety is in our body and what we need in order to feel safe and build a deeper connection with them. They're so, so, so important for authentic, safe relationships. Without boundaries, you cannot have deep relationships. A boundary says, this is how I can stay connected to you while staying connected to myself. If I lose connection to myself, I don't have a connection to you. You're getting a connection and I'm not. We do not have an authentic or safe relationship or connection. Healthy boundaries are clear and kind. They're not rigid or aggressive. It's not, this is how it is. It's always been this way. It will always be this way. They're clear and they're kind. This doesn't feel right for me. And maybe we can talk about a different way to do this where we're both okay. Healthy boundaries protect your time. Healthy boundaries protect your energy. And healthy boundaries protect your emotional well-being. Healthy boundaries create deeper, safer relationships because they're rooted in honesty and authenticity and safety. So what are some signs that a boundary is actually needed? Resentment. If you say yes and then you go and do the thing and you're resenting it the whole time you're doing it, that is clear sign that your body was asking for a boundary at the first place, for you to say no in that moment. Chronic exhaustion, dorsal vagal, is where we lose tone in our vagus nerve, our body collapses, we're exhausted all the time, we don't like to be around people, we call ourselves an introvert and we're done peopling for a day. This is actually a real sign. Empaths, highly sensitive people, this is for all of you. Chronic exhaustion, not being able to spend time around people, it's a sign that a boundary is needed. Dreading interactions with certain people. Oh God, I've got to go and face this person again. Because you know they're going to push your boundaries and you know that you're not going to be able to hold boundaries at the moment. Feeling invisible or unvalued. If you're being seen wound is screaming at you and you're like, they just don't see me at all. There's a boundary here. If you feel undervalued, underpaid, anything like that, there is a boundary that's needed here. So how do you say no without guilt? We say no with guilt. It's a great thing because you can say no. You go, I'm really sorry about the no. For now, I don't apologize for my no's. I'm just clear that it's a no. I used to, though. I used to apologize, and that's a real step to healing. Anchor in your worth first. Saying no and setting boundaries is really all about having that self-worth so that you know that you are allowed to say no. So before you say no, you might like to remind yourself, my needs matter too. Protecting my energy is not selfish, it's sacred. I'm allowed to say no. It's okay for me to say no. Anchor those in first. And by doing that, you're opening a dialogue with yourself. You're opening a dialogue with your inner parts. You're opening a dialogue with your inner child. You're just letting them know it's safe. And you're using really gentle and firm language. Now, when you first start setting boundaries, they might sound very aggressive and angry. That's okay. You're learning how to set it. And if at first it comes out really aggressively, then great. I'd much rather you set an aggressive boundary than not set one at all. When you've moved through that stage of setting aggressive boundaries, you might like to practice using gentle and firm language, something like, you don't owe long explanations. It's really important. Like, no is actually a complete sentence. No, thank you. One of my favorite things to say, I'm not available for that. See how complete it was? I'm not available for that. I'm not saying, no, I don't want to do it. No, I can't do it. It's not open for discussion. I'm not available for that. Maybe you could say, thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now. And take the right now off the end. What about, thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit. Maybe you could say, that doesn't work for me right now, if you want to soften it that little bit. And maybe you could say, that doesn't work for me. It's really important to expect discomfort. Expect it to be hard and expect it to be really uncomfortable and let it be there. Don't think, I've set a boundary, so if it's the right boundary, it should feel really comfortable. Expect discomfort, especially at the start. Let it be there. You can even say, I'm practicing putting myself first and setting boundaries, and this feels really hard for me, and I'm unavailable for that. And maybe you say, I'm unavailable for that, and then you say, see you later, and then you move through your discomfort and you sit with your discomfort and you let it be there. Feeling guilty doesn't mean you did something wrong. It's just your nervous system and your inner child adjusting to a new pattern. And so the next thing to do would be to self-soothe. Open that dialogue with your inner child who thinks you should have said yes to make them happy. Maybe take some breaths, sit and feel where the discomfort is in your body and take deep breaths and some really gentle self-talk for your inner child. It's safe for me to say no. My needs matter too. It's okay. I've got this. Everything is perfectly okay. And maybe you might like to journal that and write a letter to your inner child. Maybe you might want to take your shoes off and walk and ground yourself. But if you're feeling that sense of guilt, you might want to mobilize that in some way. In somatic practices, we want to mobilize that feeling and get curious about how you might like to do that. You might like to put a song on and celebrate it while mobilizing and celebrate those small wins. It's a really important step. Remember that. Every time you set a boundary, you're reparenting yourself by telling your inner child that they are worthy of having their needs met, that they matter, and that you, your adult self, your today self, is the person who is going to make sure their needs get met. And really notice how it feels afterwards. Just be with yourself. Less resentment, more space, more authenticity. You're allowed to change your mind later as well. If your no turns into a yes later and you're like, oh, I was testing that boundary, but I actually really would like to do it. I just felt like no was, I needed to test my boundary of that safe person. Change your mind. Tell them it's a yes later, but do it because it's an authentic yes. So notice how it feels afterwards. Less resentment, more space, more authenticity. Get used to this new way of being where your needs matter and your voice is important. So what I really love for you to understand is that boundaries aren't punishments. Boundaries are not weapons that we use against other people. They are declarations of self-respect, self-love, and trust in your own self-worth. If guilt shows up when you say no, it doesn't mean you've done something wrong. It means you're unlearning that story that you were told that love only comes when you abandon yourself. So let guilt be there. Every no you honor is a yes to yourself, your peace, your well-being, and your life. And every time you choose to stay connected to yourself first, you create safety in your body. You create the kind of love that doesn't require you to disappear to be worthy. You can say no and still be good. You always were.